Hold on, wait a minute. Didn't the camera just reveal to the audience that Cyrus is in Ruben's body? What's going on? I'll tell you what's going on. Whoever is in Dennis's body is lying to all of them. Hello and welcome back to my channel. I hope you're doing fantastic. Today we're gonna be doing a crazy little video that I've been breadcrumbing, unfortunately, for a while. I think this is my longest script. It's 20 pages long. This movie is confusing. Okay, this movie includes a lot of body swapping, and it's very, very vital that you pay attention. And I'm speaking from experience because the first time I watched this film, I gardened beforehand, and boy, I was confused from start to finish. Before I begin, just a little bit of self-promo. We are starting with my art. I am going to start selling prints soon. Well, I'm gonna start selling one print, but it's really pretty and I really love it and I'm really proud of it. So go follow my art social media, Molasses Studios, and I also have an Etsy, which is also called Molasses Studios, if you would like to know when shit is gonna drop. And my other Instagram is just Molasses. If you'd like to just keep up with my general life, go follow me on there and like and subscribe if you haven't. Thank you. So this film was, where's my stick? So this film was directed by Greg Jardin. It is a psychological thriller and it was released last year. Our main characters are Shelby, Cyrus, Nikki, Ruben, Dennis, Brooke, Maya, and Forbes. That is 8 characters, 8 different people you need to pay attention to. So for clarity's sake, because it involves body swapping, we're gonna split these people into brains and bodies. So all these characters not only have a brain, they have a body, and these are separate entities. And when we begin the film, everybody's brains and their bodies are together. But obviously that's going to change as we go through this. Got it? Good. The film starts with an introduction to our first character, social media star Nikki, talking about dealing with breakups on her TikTok. And immediately I'm obsessed. It's not a cringy way where, you know, older people try to write Gen Z dialogue. It's very natural. It comes across as a real TikTok, which I really liked. No talk about, oh my God, we're going viral, guys. Oh my God, this is totally gonna go viral. Shut up. Sorry.
Hey guys, I just wanted to jump on here real quick. Everyone really loved the last dating video I did.
So they do that very well. That's something that I really, really liked. Another character, Shelby, is using this video as some sort of weird motivation while getting ready to seduce her man in this blonde wig that he had asked for in the past. Now it's very important to note that this is all happening before their friend Ruben's pre-wedding parties. Meanwhile, our introduction to Shelby's boyfriend, Cyrus, is him beating his meat. That's not funny. It's him beating his meat to said Nikki video, right? Also, did I forget to mention that Nikki is Cyrus and Shelby's college friend? They're all college friends, by the way. And they graduated about 8 years ago. That's totally normal. Anyways, Cyrus's immediate excuse is like, oh, I thought you were on a run. Thankfully though, Shelby doesn't see what is on his computer screen. So that, I feel like that would be so traumatic. Like putting on this blonde wig to be like this one girl who you probably have an inclination that your man wants and he doesn't want you. He wants to keep jacking off to this video. So these two are clearly having some problems. Shelby seems to be trying while her man just comes across as dismissive and absent. She's wearing this blonde wig that he wanted. She even uses Nikki's signature like social media sign on, oh hey cuties, to try to seduce her man, but nothing works because he doesn't want a girl like Nikki. He wants Nikki. Why he's in a relationship with Shelby, I don't know. Why Shelby is staying with him, even more confusing. Nikki is their college friend and she will also be at the wedding party that they are attending that night. So they definitely don't work together. They are having sex problems, which leads to an argument as to whether or not they're even going to go to this wedding party. And boom. Title card. I love a beautiful title card. I love aesthetically pleasing things, and all the title cards in this film are very beautiful and they're accompanied by a very gorgeous score, I guess you call it. I'm not a film bro. I don't know all the proper technicalities and whatnot, so pardon me, but I just love the way it looks. So now we are introduced to the rest of the cast, a group of American late 20-something-year-olds. We meet Dennis, your average rich Instagram boy that evidently speaks like what he thinks black people speak like. And don't try to pretend that you don't know what I'm talking about. Think back to that one Billie Eilish video, that one Billie Eilish Instagram live where Phineas was like, Billie, why are you talking like that? Why are you talking like that? That's not how you normally talk. This is what Dennis gives. I hope that explained it. And listen, I'm a Billie Eilish ride or die, but that makes me giggle a little bit. Come on. Anyways, we then meet Maya, who upon realizing that she is being recorded for Instagram is like, are you making a movie? Girl, you've never been on Instagram before. You've never been recorded for somebody's story before. You don't know what stories aren't everything now. This is supposed to be like the I touch grass stoner cool girl. That's what they're trying to communicate to the audience with her asking her friend if she is making a movie. But people don't talk like that. Anyways, her friend in this scenario, Maya's friend, is called Brooke, and she is our little artsy gal. She's a bit of a free spirit as well. Very daring girl. She likes to do things that she's not supposed to, and that's where I'm gonna leave it at. So, Cyrus and Shelby are on the way to the wedding, and this car ride makes it abundantly clear that both parties are obsessed with Nikki in their own ways. Shelby is more like, oh, I want to be her. Cyrus is like, oh, I want to be on her. Ooh. So the pre-wedding party is taking place at Ruben's parents' place. It's this beautiful grand mansion in the middle of the woods. The shot of Shelby and Cyrus getting there is beautifully sinister. As we arrive, we delve more into the relationship between Cyrus and women, and that he clearly does not respect them. He has a very toxic relationship with women. He goes on for way too long as to whether Ruben's dead mom's art pieces are actual representations of her genitalia, which his mom is dead. Like, why would you? Anyways, Shelby, Cyrus arrive, Maya, Brooke, and Nikki come to say hi, and this is the happiest that I have seen Cyrus in this entire movie. So, for whatever reason, everyone thinks that Shelby and Cyrus have gotten engaged, and it makes for some very, very awkward conversations. So Cyrus then heads to the balcony where he sees Ruben and this massive trauma sign. It's a massive trauma light up sign. Foreshadowing? I don't know. So far we have met 7 of the 8 friends. This is the scene where we learn that there is one last friend in the friendship group, and his name is Forbes. He had a falling out with the friendship group, and he has not seen them in 8 years. However, he will be coming to the wedding party tonight. We flash back to one of their college parties, which took place 8 years ago. Forbes had a little sister, Beatrice, who was obsessed with Dennis, but unfortunately, Dennis was dating Nikki at the time. Beatrice sees them together, freaks out. A fight ensues between Forbes, Beatrice's brother, and Dennis. The cops were called, and then Forbes gets expelled for bringing his high school age sister to a college party, and Beatrice gets sent off to a mental hospital. Forbes disappears and joins a tech company, and that is the end of the flashback. Now they're having dinner, and we have this super on the nose hint at what's to come.
If you look at it normally, it's like this one thing, right? But then if you look at it through a colored lens, you see something different inside.
While it is very on the nose, and the first time I watched it, I was like, okay. When you re-watch the film, and you will see why, I actually quite like what they did with this scene because there is a lot of really cool and fun use of light. Nikki tells Brooke about how crazy it is that she's still single because she's a perfect blend of artsy and exotic. She's not a bird. What do you mean exotic? Ew, I know what you mean. I know what you are. So now the camera shows us, the audience, that Ruben, fiance Ruben, has a thing for Maya. Still, on the eve of his wedding. So he then goes on to give a toast, thanking them for supporting him through the past 8 years. His mom also passed away about 8 years ago. And then we have this casual talking over dialogue that I love so much. It just really brings me into the experience of watching the film. Like,
I was high as fuck, and I didn't really mean it. So if you could all, you could all leave.
Yeah, you motherfucking lightweight.
I feel like I'm there and I'm just a fly on the wall. I love that. So then, mid-speech, Forbes arrives. Excellent visuals. Excellent. Jardin, I love your work. So Forbes arrives with this ominous ass look on his face and an equally ominous looking suitcase. Oh. So hilariously, Forbes also thinks that Shelby and Cyrus got engaged. And this conversation between Forbes and Cyrus proves that he does not like that woman. She's ready to get married. He's super not. She wants to try new things with him, like ballroom dancing. He has zero interest in it. And this is just so similar to the lack of enthusiasm that he showed for the role play that she was trying to do, putting on the wig that blonde wig that he requested. What do you want, my dude? Nikki, obviously. Through this entire conversation, it is important to note that Forbes has this creepy ass smile on his face throughout. So jot that down. Thank you. So now the gang is in a joint circle, about to play some games when Forbes joins them, and upon them asking, "Oh, Forbes, what have you been doing the past 8 years?" we hear him say this single sentence that we heard him practicing earlier: just traveling the world and making paper. Why was he practicing that earlier? Forbes reveals the contents of his suitcase, and it's basically this game that he wants to play. It's something that him and his tech company have been developing for a couple years. He explains nothing of the specifics of the game, and their high asses are just like, you know what? Yeah, you know what? I haven't seen you in 8 years since we had a massive falling out that destroyed your life, destroyed your sister's life. But yeah, let's play this fucking freaky ass game and not ask about any specifics about it. It is important to note that Shelby, Nikki, and Forbes are the only ones who have not been on that Mary Jane. So Forbes opens up this suitcase. We see lights, knobs, wires. Everyone gets electrodes attached to their heads. Forbes presses a button. Let the games begin. I love this movie so much. I'm literally like, as I'm going, I'm visualizing the movie in my head. It's so good, guys.
Okay, everybody, please keep your electrodes on.
What the fuck?
Take a deep breath. It's okay. It's okay.
So after about 20 seconds of freaking out, the experience ends and they realize that they had all swapped bodies with somebody in that room. But again, the swap only lasted for, a couple seconds and they're all back in their bodies now. Okay? Forbes explains to them what just happened while they sit in shock and fear. Shelby and Cyrus get suspicious about why the fuck he has this top secret device at a wedding party. He explains this is such a poor explanation, but he explains it away by saying, well, he was inspired by the game Werewolf, also known as Mafia, and it's slightly different, but it's essentially the same game. And he would play it with his colleagues where they would use the machine, swap bodies, and they would all try to guess who was in whose body. The team decides to continue and play the game, some more reluctantly than others. So now the real game begins. They each get Polaroids taken, and once swapped, if anyone guesses who is in another person's body, the person who is guessed, they have to wear a Polaroid of themselves on their chest so everybody knows who was actually in them. So the Polaroid on their chest matches whose brain is in the body that we're looking at. Got it? Good.
If I wind up in Ruben's body, does that mean I'm cool to use the N-word?
Oh my god.
You have to even ask that shit, bro.
Cyrus acting disgusted. I know what you are, sir. I know you say it in secret. Round 1. Pay attention. So Shelby is in Brooke's body and admits it straight away by being a little freaked out, although she is not anxious anymore because Brooke was getting high. Now that she's in Brooke's body, she feels the effects and she feels good. So Shelby in Brooke continues to get high with the rest of them. And I'm just thinking to go from a sober person's mind to a high person's mind immediately, just like that would be so trippy, and also vice versa. So Shelby and Brooke now has a Polaroid on her shirt, and she's out of this round of the game. At this point in the film, it gets super noticeable that they have been using quite a number of mirror shots, probably to symbolize the massive aspect of the film that is being trapped in somebody else's body and sort of being able to see a physical reflection of yourself in real time. A split screen now reveals to the audience that Cyrus is in Ruben's body. And to find out whose body Ruben is in, Cyrus and Ruben decides to pull his dick out Cyrus in Ruben's body decides to pull his dick out in front of everybody to see who stops him. Whoever is in Cyrus's body does, which means that Ruben is in Cyrus's body. So whoever's in Forbes's body guesses that Maya is in Nikki's body solely based on the fact that she says dude, and she's the only person that says that. That is correct. She gets a Polaroid. So upon seeing Shelby and Brooke coughing, whoever is in Dennis's body tells Shelbo to relax. Now, Cyrus is the only person that calls Shelby Shelbo. So everyone's like, Cyrus, it's Cyrus in Dennis's body. You cannot get us. We heard you call her Shelbo. So the group asks if it's Cyrus in Dennis's body, and he says yes. Hold on, wait a minute. Didn't the camera just reveal to the audience that Cyrus is in Ruben's body? What's going on? I'll tell you what's going on. Whoever is in Dennis's body is lying to all of them. Well, except for Cyrus and Ruben, because Cyrus knows that he is Cyrus. He knows that whoever is in Dennis is lying about being Cyrus because he's Cyrus. And they're both just staring at each other, knowing that each other knows. Cyrus and Ruben is like looking at him like, what are you doing? Like, what are you doing? He doesn't say anything. Meanwhile, whoever's in Dennis's body is just like looking at him very maniacally. Spooky. So I'm sure you can guess who is in Dennis's body. Who's the only person being weird and creepy and spooky and quiet and nefarious? Forbes. It's Forbes in Dennis's body. Okay. But why is he lying? I don't know. Actually, I do know, but you don't. Keep watching to find out. So nobody aside from Cyrus and you and me know that it's Forbes in Dennis's body and not Cyrus in Dennis's body. So make sure you keep that on the DL. Make sure you keep that quiet, okay? Thank you. So later, Cyrus and Ruben pulls Forbes and Dennis aside and it's like, man, what the fuck is going on? Like, why are you doing this? Why are you pretending to be me? And then Forbes and Dennis reminds Cyrus and Ruben, did he want to try new experiences? He loved talking about, trying new experiences earlier. Now you don't want to try new experiences? Just enjoy it, my boy. That's essentially what he says. And then Forbes and Dennis leaves. And Cyrus and Ruben's like, what the fuck? So one thing I love about this film is that it uses red light and layered vocals to show us whose brain is in the body that we're seeing, like you can see here. And also, if you remember, this is what they were explaining to us in that super on the nose scene with Brooke's art earlier, where she was using the Roy G. Biv filters. So Cyrus and Ruben decides to make use of this new opportunity that he has. And guess what he does? He goes off to be a slut. He goes straight to Nikki, who we earlier found is harboring Maya's brain. And Maya Nikki is admiring herself in a mirror. Now remember, Maya Nikki thinks she's speaking to Forbes because Cyrus had already been identified as Dennis, and he has a Cyrus Polaroid on his shirt, but it's not, it's actually Forbes. Is looking into the face of a girl that looks exactly like the girl that he was beating his meat to earlier in this movie. So I'm sure this is gonna go well for everybody involved. He's double concealed. He's not seen, and people don't think that it's his brain in that body either. He's doubly concealed, and he's using this opportunity for evil. Cyrus, when I catch your fictional ass. So Maya and Nikki asks if Forbes has a girlfriend, and he says no. Remember, it's Cyrus pretending to be Forbes. And I don't know if I said this already, but Maya and Ruben used to hook up, and because Forbes doesn't have a girlfriend, she uses this opportunity to hook up again. You dirty bastards. Because I'm pretty sure Maya also has a boyfriend at the moment. Once again, this red lighting shows us what is going on beyond the physical. Cyrus, you dirty bastard. He goes as far as to say, I will leave her for you. What do you mean? Imagine having a man and he's doing this devious behavior in the next room. Y'all are in the same house and he's doing this shit. That's crazy. So now they're interrupted by somebody in Maya's body checking on them. We don't know who it is, which trips Maya and Nikki out. It trips her out. She was caught super off guard by seeing herself in Forbes, quote unquote, now seems a bit too keen to continue this makeout session that they were doing. And she calls him out because she still thinks he's Forbes. And she's like, did you literally just bring this weird game briefcase here so you could swap bodies and hook up with girls? Anyways, this freaks her out and she leaves. Now Cyrus and Ruben, pretending to be Forbes, runs into Shelby and Brooke dancing with Ruben and Cyrus. Oh my god. Y'all are so glad you're gonna have these visual aids. What am I saying? What am I actually? I'm literally just saying words at this point. Shelby and Brooke and Maya and Dennis and Greg Jardin, I hope you're happy. I hope you're happy. Why am I crashing out over this 1 hour, 40-minute movie? Fictional at that. That's crazy. Actually, no, this was based on a true story, guys. Anyways, Cyrus and Ruben, pretending to be Forbes, runs into Shelby and Brooke dancing with Ruben and Cyrus, and he is obviously jealous. Now, Shelby and Brooke reveals to who she thinks is Forbes that Cyrus would never dance with her, poor gal. Shelby and Brooke and Ruben and Cyrus start making fun of Cyrus not wanting to dance with her because he's too busy beating his meat. With his tiny wiener. So Cyrus and Ruben can't handle this, and he goes on to tell Forbes and Dennis, who's pretending to be Cyrus and Dennis, that he wants everybody to swap back. He wants the game to be over. He doesn't want to do this anymore. Oh, Pooks. Pooks. You want to have your cake and eat it, but you don't want Shelby to just like dance with somebody else? They're making fun of you for doing something you literally do. Anyways, the gang swap back and everybody wants a round 2 except for Cyrus. Womp fucking womp, brother. Shelby and Cyrus then go to have a private conversation of how much they enjoyed the experience. But he's obviously lying because he doesn't want her to know he was actually in Ruben's body, and he was sad because her and Ruben were making fun of him for having a tiny wiener and jerking off too much. Oh. Oh, are you sad? You wanted to hook up with a girl that was not your girlfriend, but a little tiny violin action you can't handle. I see. That's what you are. Vintage crystals at the bar. Category bad bitch at the bar. I'm so sorry. So out of the blue, Dennis decides to apologize to Forbes for getting him expelled all those years ago, and then he reveals that Ruben was in on it too. First of all, apologizing 8 years later is bonkers. Second of all, why is Ruben in it? Snitch. Why are you throwing your friend under the bus? Forbes didn't know. Why are you implicating your friend like that? Anyways, Dennis and Cyrus almost get into a fight, causing an argument between Cyrus and Shelby because according to Shelby, Cyrus can never let things go. And according to Cyrus, Shelby doesn't stand up for herself and she lets herself constantly be walked over. Neither of them are wrong, in my humble opinion, and that just makes for a perfect toxic relationship now, doesn't it? Cyrus finally reveals to Shelby that Forbes lied about whose body he was in. He lied and pretended that he was Cyrus. She doesn't take it seriously because that man be complaining. Anyways, Cyrus is like, okay, I'll play, but let's do this little signal. I'll brush my eyebrow and I'll look at you and you brush your eyebrow so I know whose body you're in next round and you know whose body I'm in. Which, why are you playing if you're freaked out? The guy who brings the game is pretending to be you. Your bullshit meter isn't going off. Aren't you scared? Just don't play. Just don't play. Peer pressure is real. At your big age, y'all are almost 30. They're about to start the next round, and it is important to note that Forbes shows Shelby how to use the machine in this round. So jot that down. Round 2. So immediately we, the audience, are shown that Cyrus is in Forbes' body now. Cyrus and Forbes decides to do an eyebrow scratch to find Shelby. He does the eyebrow scratch to literally everyone there, and nobody's doing the eyebrow scratch back. Whoever's in Nikki's body is repeating the "hey cutie" thing to herself in the mirror. Who have we seen do that? Shelby. So Shelby is in Nikki's body. Why she didn't signal back to Cyrus, I don't know. Anyway, Shelby and Nikki is having a field day with her new look, even posting on IG as her. Nikki is an IG person. That's her job. That's her livelihood. Why are you doing that? Like, do you think she's not gonna see this random new photo of herself on Instagram later and be like, who posted this? Why did they post this? Granted, it was nothing nefarious or weird that she posted. She posted something that was very much in line with what Nikki posts, but like, that's so weird. Why did you do that? You're not Nikki. I mean, you are, but you're not. Shelby even goes on to start reading her text. That is such an invasion of privacy. Like, this envy thing that Shelby has with Nikki is obviously like some sort of byproduct of her boyfriend Cyrus and literally not paying attention to her and basically wanting her to be Nikki. But it's like Shelby is beyond beautiful. She looks like a Disney princess. Gorgeous lighting strikes again. Now, whoever is in Dennis's body asks whoever's in Maya's body to go up to the roof. Ooh. Spooky. Now, Cyrus and Forbes realizes that it's probably Shelby in Nikki's body, and he confronts her as to why she's not admitting that it's her, why she wasn't signaling back to him. Anyways, this somehow turns into a hookup. Shelby asks him to call her Nikki. These hoes is scary, and they're way into it. Over on the roof, we find out that it's Brooke in Maya's body and Ruben in Dennis's bodies, and we're shown that by the beautiful red lighting. They start hooking up on the roof. Bearing in mind, it is this man's wedding weekend. They start telling each other, I love you, I want to marry you. First of all, how do these people not have any moral qualms with using their friends' bodies as sex toys? Jail, all of you. These people suck, they should not be friends, and they clearly do not like each other. Good friends would have outlined the rules and boundaries before starting the games. I feel like you would put phones away. You'd be like, okay, no doing this, no doing that. I don't care that some of them were high. That's not an excuse. Over with Cyrus and Forbes and Shelby and Nikki, Cyrus and Forbes starts to freak out a little bit because he thinks Shelby and Nikki is too into it because she likes Forbes. Which is crazy because Cyrus was so happy chanting Nikki's name as they were just hooking up. He doesn't care whose brain is in whose body as long as the body is Nikki. And now he's projecting those feelings onto his girlfriend. His morality is just all over the place. Back on the ground floor, we find out that Nikki is in Brooke and Dennis is in Cyrus because they're both insulting each other as they do. Cyrus and Forbes and Shelby and Nikki walk in and they're all yelling,
Obviously you're Dennis because you're being an asshole.
You're not allowed to guess. You're out of the game.
Dennis, finally.
Nah, fuck that shit. That doesn't fucking count.
and then crescendo.
That Shelby is in Nikki's body.
Ruben and Dennis and Brooke and Maya fall to their deaths. Ruben's body gets impaled by some metal pipes, dead instantly. Maya's body falls to the ground. She has consciousness for a bit, and then she also dies. So, who is dead? Brooke's brain, Ruben's brain, Maya's body, and Dennis's body. All gone. Upon this tragic event, obviously everybody starts freaking out, especially the people who still have their brains but their bodies are now gone. Forbes reveals that he is in Ruben's body and he cannot transfer brains into dead bodies. I mean, that's just like, duh. So the souls and bodies of the people who died are past and gone for good. Dennis and Cyrus is freaking out over the fact that his body is crushed. Meanwhile, Maya and Shelby has already accepted her fate. Her body is gone. Why they didn't call the ambulance for at least Maya's body, I don't know. Now, Nikki and Brooke wants to call the cops, but Forbes and Ruben refuses because his body swap machine will be seized. Here's an idea. Hide it, then call the cops or the ambulance or whatever. Nikki and Brooke calls him out for bringing such a valuable machine to a party like once again, and she tells him that she will not be going down with him. Cyrus and Forbes is like, okay, we can switch back into our bodies, hide it so the cops won't even need to know of the machine's existence, like I was just saying. But then there's a huge problem. Maya and Dennis have no bodies to switch into. The fact that none of these people seem very concerned with the fact that their friends just died horrifically, basically in front of them, is crazy. I kind of understand Dennis and Maya more so because their bodies are just gone for good. They can never go back to their old lives as they knew it. But the rest of y'all, let's focus on the right thing. Let's prioritize here. At the end of the day, it tracks with this messy ass friend group. So Dennis and Cyrus and Forbes get into another fight because Dennis is pressed that everybody except him and Maya, of course, have bodies to swap back into. This huge fight between two of them results in 2 truth bombs getting spilt. 1, Dennis cheated on Nikki with Forbes' high school sister, Beatrice, about 8 years ago, and that's what actually started the fight way back when, in that flashback where we saw the whole fallout of the friendship group and the reason why Forbes got expelled. Dennis was the catalyst behind the whole thing. He was cheating on Nikki the whole time. Beatrice thought they actually had something just for him to go and pretend that like she was crazy. I never did anything with her. She's just crazy because she's obsessed with me. And second truth bomb that was spilled was that Cyrus knew what happened and he told Nikki because he was obsessed with her. He didn't tell Nikki because he was a good person. He told her because he liked her. He asked Nikki out. Nikki said no. And then he went on to date Shelby as a little like consolation prize. He decided to settle for Shelby and they had been together for 9 years. Cyrus and Forbes fights back being like, well, Dennis, you should be happy to swap into Ruben's body. You've done nothing but live off your parents for the past 9 years of your life.
You've always been a little bitch. You didn't have to fucking play. You could have sat out.
Yeah, if I'm such a little bitch, then why do you want to stay in my fucking body?
It's the fucking principle.
Guys!
In retaliation, Dennis and Cyrus decides to call the cops and confess that he pushed his friends off the ledge.
I pushed Dennis Markowitz and Maya Wilson off the roof. They're dead. I killed them.
Cyrus just had to take the bait.
What the fuck is wrong with you? We can switch now.
So soon the gang realizes that Forbes and Ruben is making a run for it with the machine. Nikki and Brooke knocks him out, ties him up, and the gang plans to switch back. As remember, Forbes taught Shelby how to work the machine earlier. One problem though, Shelby doesn't want to swap back. She wants to remain in Nikki's body. Oh, could have seen this coming.
Why don't you want to be in Brooke's body?
Why do you think that I don't want to be in
You said
Brooke's
you wanted a
body?
cultural experience and now you're getting one.
Fuck you, bitch. That has nothing to do with it.
Now Shelby and Nikki is making fun of Nikki and Brooke because she chooses to post selfies for a living. Girl, you wanted to be just like her before. You even posted on her account pretending to be her. Now you want to make fun of her?
You post selfies for a living.
Do you have any idea the amount of charities?
Mocking her for the life you secretly want ain't it, Shelbo. Come on. Also, what happened to free will? Give her her body back. Hello? She thinks that because she is the only one that knows how to operate the machine, that she can just take the fate of her friends into her hands. No! I genuinely thought Shelby was better than this, but like I said, these people all suck in their own special ways, some more than others. So Shelby and Nikki and Cyrus and Forbes end up having another fight, surprise, surprise. This fight is based on the fact that Shelby never knew that Cyrus had a crush on Nikki and tried to get with Nikki first. They get into a tiff about why Cyrus has no physical interest in Shelby, and he's like, I'm fucked up. I watch weird shit online because I'm fucked up. I'm just so troubled. Won't somebody help? Shut the fuck up. And like the whole time I'm like, okay, Cyrus sucks ass, but Shelby, it sounds like Shelby doesn't know what free will is. Girl, you can leave him. 9 years, girl, 9 years. Why you stay with this porn addicted man who hates you for almost a decade of your life is beyond me. He goes on the spiel about how this night made him realize what he truly wants, and what he truly wants is Shelby, although in saying this, he lets it slip that he was the one in Ruben's body in the first round, not Forbes like he was pretending to be to Maya in Nikki's body, who he tried to hook up with in the first round. And guess who's sitting right next to them? Maya. So she's like, hold on, wait a minute. So that wasn't Forbes, that was you.
It was you. You were trying to hook up with me when I was in Nikki's body.
Please stop talking.
You said you were Forbes.
Cyrus even goes as far as to do this impromptu proposal to Shelby to get her to swap back. Really, girl? Shelby and Nikki has decided that nobody's swapping back. She even goes to threaten Nikki and Brooke with this scandalous video that she's going to post on her Instagram if Nikki and Brooke doesn't back off. Like, I have to say, once again, Shelby threatening Nikki like this is so beyond bonkers. It's not her fault that you chose to stay with this shitty man. It's not her fault that your boyfriend had/has a crush on her. That's not her problem. Why are you doing this? And you know, they all just went through a traumatic collective experience, and now Shelby is finding out that her boyfriend maybe never even loved her and has had a crush on their friend the whole time. That probably explains a little bit why she's doing this, but it doesn't excuse it. So Forbes and Ruben has now gained consciousness. Remember, he was trying to sneak off with the machine. They knocked him out and they tied him down. He's now gained consciousness, and he gives Shelby and Nikki an idea. She likes this idea. Shelby and Nikki then goes to Cyrus and Forbes and tells him that the decision is in his hands. So either they all swap back to their original bodies and stay together like Cyrus was saying and deal with the cops, or if it's actually Nikki's body that he wants, she can stay in Nikki's body, he swaps to Ruben's body, and it looks to the outside world that Ruben abandoned his fiancée to start a new life with his college friend Nikki, and then they leave Dennis and Cyrus to deal with the fallout of his confession that he killed his friends. So the cops are on their way, they have to make a decision real quick, and Cyrus and Forbes decides, yeah, I'm gonna go with the latter option. I'll go into Ruben, and you can stay Nikki. just so he can have the outer shell of this girl that he's been obsessed with for a decade, contributing to this insanely toxic relationship he has with women. He doesn't think about the fact that his girlfriend is going to be in a completely different body, that Nikki is just going to be in the body of some random person who she doesn't want. All he cares about is, oh, I have Nikki. Oh, I have this like picturesque girl that I've been obsessed with. Doesn't care about her personality, doesn't care about her brains. He just wants the outer shell of Nikki. Wombleclat. Elsewhere, Forbes and Ruben convinces Nikki and I'm getting confused now. Elsewhere, Forbes and Ruben convinces Nikki and Brooke to untie him after he implies that he will go with her plan. He will get her back in her body, and he also tells her what Shelby's plan was going to be, like what Shelby intended to do, but he's like, no, don't worry, I won't let her do it. So then Nikki and Brooke goes to Dennis and Cyrus, and she decides to hatch her own plan, which she shares with him. And obviously that hinges a lot on Forbes and Ruben. Honestly, just the fact that Nikki trusts Forbes after everything is so crazy, but you do you, girl. Anyways, here's a little Easter egg for y'all. Fashion icon Coleman Domingo is an executive producer of this film, and he actually makes a sneaky little appearance in this scene. So the cops have now arrived at the house, and we have completely opposing plans going. So then Dennis and Cyrus goes to grab his phone from his dead body's pants and notices that somebody had done some fuck shit on his phone, and we'll get into that in a bit. Nikki and Brooke and Forbes and Ruben enter the room as Shelby and Nikki's plan is underway. And Nikki wants Forbes to look at the wiring, and Shelby and Nikki's like, no, don't worry. I put the cables properly. We're all going into the bodies that we actually decided on. I'm not staying in Nikki's body. But Nikki and Brooke obviously doesn't believe her, and she's like, Forbes, check the wiring, make sure everything is perfect so that I go back in my body. But then Shelby and Nikki's like, no, this wiring does not need another look. The cops are here, we're running out of time. Everything's fine, everybody get their electrodes on their head. Let's swap back. This is when Nikki and Brooke decides to smear peanut butter on Shelby and Nikki's mouth. She does this to elicit an allergic reaction because Nikki is super allergic to peanut butter. Her body will literally shut down in 5 minutes allergic to peanut butter. And Nikki and Brooke is like, I have my EpiPen, but I'm not gonna tell you where it is, and you will literally die in a couple minutes if you do not let Forbes recheck this wiring. So then this allows Forbes and Ruben to take one last look at the wiring. He literally swaps one thing around. Now, Dennis and Cyrus has realized that somebody took a shit ton of money out of his bank account when they had access to his body and his phone. They literally wiped his trust fund. Millions of dollars. That boy was rich. Anyways, Dennis thinks it was Cyrus because he was in his body the last round, or so he thinks.
You were in my body. Where the fucking money? That was all I fucking had.
The police is at their door. They need to do the switch. Nikki and Brooke finally reveals the whereabouts of her EpiPen, and immediately Forbes and Cyrus takes her down. A fight ensues, but Forbes and Ruben is able to get the electrodes on everybody's heads and presses the button for one final switch. The screen fades to black. So we are in a different scene, a different location, and the scene opens with a familiar woman with a black eye having a serious case of road rage. Anyways, the girl later drives into Ruben's home on the day of the wedding, where the wedding was supposed to be taking place, but is being packed up, and Ruben's fiance, Sophia, is crying in the corner as he was obviously a no-show. The girl runs into Forbes, or whoever is in Forbes' body, who is sitting on wedding chairs, and the girl starts to beat him the fuck up, and she starts asking, where's my suitcase? What do you mean, where's your suitcase? That's what I was thinking when I watched it. Forbes asks the girl, bro, what are you doing here? And the girl realizes that it is Dennis in Forbes' body. The girl's like, I'm not who you think I am. And Dennis and Forbes is like, yeah, I know who you are. You're Beatrice, Forbes' sister. Yeah, that Beatrice. The high schooler that Dennis was sleeping with while he was in college, resulting in all that bullshit in the flashback that we talked about. Yeah, that Beatrice. And Beatrice says,
No, I'm Forbes. You're in my body.
one that shall never end. Hey! It's Forbes! It's Forbes! It was Forbes in Beatrice's body. That means Beatrice was in Forbes' body the whole time. Goosebumps. One thing about me, I love a twist. So Forbes and Beatrice tells Dennis and Forbes that this whole thing is his fault, starting from the fight that broke out at the college party all those years ago. Turns out it was just as we suspected. Dennis was hooking up with Beatrice long before the party, and Beatrice actually had a history of mental episodes, and the worst one happened that night because she was being gaslit by Dennis when she was like, "You were hooking up with me, I thought we had a thing. She's not your girlfriend, I am." She actually thought that she was his girlfriend because he was promising her all of these things. On that night, and after Dennis and Ruben was telling everybody that she was delusional, she was making things up, that they never had a thing, she had this huge breakdown. She gets sent into a mental hospital under strict watch. Now, Forbes, as Beatrice's brother, was tired of seeing this, and he was like, okay, how can I make her feel happier? How can I bond with my sister? And then all of a sudden, him and his team and his IT company come up with this brilliant device that can swap brains and swap bodies. And he's like, okay, this is how I bond with my sister. Let's play this like mafia werewolf game. So he goes to the mental hospital, plays this game with his plays this game with his sister. His sister, now in his body, knocks him out, leaves him there in the hospital, and takes off and goes on to do this whole like pre-wedding party debacle. And I now realize we actually witnessed Forbes being beat up by Beatrice after they had swapped bodies. It's literally the first scene of this film where you have no idea what's going on. You're just hearing like clips and shudders and like the suitcase being closed. You can actually see Forbes' reflection in like one of the knobs on the suitcase. He was getting his ass beat. Now, this is so crazy, and I only learned this by this interview with the director after I watched the film. Literally after I watched the film like 3 times. I never realized this, but he told us that Beatrice and Forbes was revealed to us earlier. So remember that one scene where Nikki and Brooke rubs peanut butter on Shelby and Nikki? Now that scene is shown with red lighting, and remember, red lighting shows us who is actually in the bodies of these people. Where Forbes is supposed to be under this red filter, we see Beatrice clear as day. She was there the whole time. I don't know how they know that the viewers aren't gonna notice, but I've seen like a lot of commentary online about this film, and like nobody noticed that on their first watch. Crazy. Upon watching this interview, I was like, we never actually see Forbes under the red light. This movie really tricked us, and we weren't paying attention. Goosebumps. Anyways, we later see where everyone else had ended up. Cyrus is in jail, seemingly back in his own body. Shelby is visiting him, also back in her own body apparently. Cyrus is acting all entitled, adamant that it's not actually Shelby because the way she's speaking to him is all detached. Like, you know when you break up with a guy and you start talking like you're an HR representative? Please return my belongings in the next 2 business days type beat. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah, so that's kind of how she's talking. Anyways, he realizes that it is Shelby, and the way this man thinks he can just dangle marriage in front of her head and she'll just be like, yeah, okay, I'll do whatever you want. Which is, I'm sure this is how he has stayed together with her for 9 years, just continuously promising marriage and promising marriage and promising marriage. And she just like was too, like, no offense, just like too stupid to see that that man didn't like her. Thankfully, she doesn't take the bait and is like, sorry, babe, you can't get out of this one. We find out that in addition to these 2 homicide charges, the deaths of Dennis and Maya, we also find out that Cyrus is getting blamed for transferring all that money out of Dennis's bank account that night. A whopping $2.5 million. Can you believe that? Imagine having that much money. I'm like, surely it can't be that easy, but like with banking apps nowadays, you can get in with Face ID, so I'm pretty sure that's what happened. We then flash back to the night of the party after Forbes and Ruben, who we now know was Beatrice and Ruben, had pressed the button for the final switch.
What the fuck?
Nikki ended up in Ruben's body. Dennis is in Forbes, Maya's in Brooke, Cyrus is in Cyrus, Shelby is in Shelby, and Forbes, who was actually Beatrice, ended up in Nikki's body, running away with her millions of followers and Dennis's $2.5 million. Go Beatrice. Who said mentally ill women couldn't get stuff done? Who said that? Who said that? Anyways, back in jail with Cyrus and Shelby. Shelby is denying the whole body switching thing even took place. She's like now the one that's gaslighting him, being like, you actually had a lot to drink. You actually smoked a lot. That never happened. Shelby finally cuts the bullshit and reveals this advice that she got from Forbes last night, if you remember. So the advice that she got from Forbes, who was actually Beatrice, was to pretend that she actually wanted to be in Nikki's body forever to see if Cyrus would agree to it. And as soon as he was like, yeah, I do want you to stay in Nikki's body forever, she knew from that moment that she would never let him lie to her again.
So fuck on that, bitch.
Which is actually a line that he used on her earlier when he was trying to get her to, you know, stand up for herself more and not let herself be walked all over.
What you did was wrong.
What you did was wrong.
It was fucking wrong.
You're a shit person.
And you deserve to spend the rest of your miserable existence
rammed up your ass.
rammed up your fucking ass.
Bitch.
So fuck on that, bitch.
Which made a cute little full circle moment. So what all of that means is that Shelby would have actually set up the wiring to go back into her body at the end there. And she would have set the wiring for Nikki to go back into her body. And the reason that Nikki ended up in Reuben was because when Nikki trusted Forbes, or Beatrice, we now know, to put her back in her body, Forbes/Beatrice actually literally just did one little change, and that was for her to go into Nikki's body and Nikki to go into Reuben's body. If Nikki just trusted Shelby, she would have been right back in her own body, but I do not blame her for not trusting Shelby because she was going on that spiel about how she was going to post this horrible video to her Instagram story. Granted, everything she says, Nikki probably believed. Like, she doesn't seem like that good a person, but she did not deserve that. Like, this is not Nikki's fault. If anything, it's Forbes. Well, Beatrice. At the end of the day, Nikki really shot herself in the foot there, but she had no reason to trust Shelby. Truthfully, she shouldn't have trusted Forbes either. And that is what's inside. Wasn't that just incredible and confusing? Now, I have some questions and final thoughts. How was Forbes/Beatrice able to carry this out while high in the bodies of other people? Because at one point, Forbes/Beatrice was in Dennis's body and he was high as shit and he was drinking too. Also, I think this whole setup was like insane. It's similar to Bodies, Bodies, Bodies. It's never a good idea to be in an enclosed space with people that you like violently dislike, especially in this movie where it's like, okay, all their phones remain in their pockets. They didn't have any boundaries. Their bodies are swapped. Y'all don't know Face ID exists. Like, what are we doing? Like, let's think. My last question, what are people like Dennis, Maya, and Nikki, who ended up in bodies that they didn't want, gonna do concerning their families? The families of the people that they swapped into the bodies of are gonna be seeing them living their lives and are gonna be like, why did they abandon us? Like this isn't the Reuben we knew, or this isn't the Brooke I knew. So that just freaks me out. Honestly, that would be so sad. Now, some final thoughts. Cyrus was a creep. Do I think he deserved to go to jail for homicide and fraud? No. Did it put a smile on my face seeing him behind bars? Well, yes. Now, like Bodies, 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 this film has no likable main characters. They kind of all suck, especially with the idea that one, they can take their friends' fates into their own hands, and two, they can use their friends' bodies however they please. Now, one thing I really want to try to get across is that Shelby is not meant to be the hero. I've seen so much online discourse blaming Shelby for Cyrus ending up in jail. At the end of the day, like, let's just sit and think for a second. She had nothing to do with that. Dennis was the one who called the cops and framed him. And Shelby just had the years of waiting for this loser to like finally make a move and show that he loved her, explain to her, oh, he never loved me. He was just waiting for Nikki. And she crashed out. Who's not gonna crash out? She definitely did not make good decisions in the moment. Even just to think for 1 second, oh, I'm gonna permanently stay in Nikki's body. That's fucked up. But like, let's view everything in context. Shelby was a shitty character, but she is not the reason that this man ended up in jail. I heard so many people be like, oh, Shelby's the villain. I hate Shelby. I hate Shelby. She didn't do that. She literally just stopped helping him. And yes, she could have gone to the cops and been like, no, my boyfriend didn't actually do it. Like, what is she realistically going to say? My friends and I actually stupidly decided to do a body swapping game machine thing. And it was actually our friend Dennis who confessed. and it wasn't my boyfriend, so like who's gonna believe her? Also, she is the long-term partner of the person who is in jail. The cops aren't just gonna take her word for it and release him. Like, realistically, what could she have done? She just decided to stop helping him. Yes, Shelby deserves some kind of blame. She could have helped him. Cyrus didn't deserve to be in jail. But why are we blaming Shelby specifically? I know what y'all are. Yeah. Yes, at a point she was going to be in Nikki's body forever. Yes, she's still in a failing relationship for way too long. Yes, they all suck ass. That's the point of the movie. This movie wouldn't exist if they did not all suck ass. This is not morally just the movie. Okay, you literally have a statutory sexual abuser. He was sleeping with a child, and Shelby is the main villain that you're going to point out and put the spotlight on and vilify. Let's think. Am I wrong to say that? Am I crazy? Am I going crazy? And yeah, Shelby wanted to be Nikki for a little bit. At the end of the day, she chose not to. Cyrus, on the other hand, didn't care that he would have been making two women completely uproot their lives. Shelby becoming a completely different person, Nikki becoming a completely different person, just so he could have his cake. But yeah, let's blame Shelby because he's in jail for a murder that Dennis confessed to. Come on! To all the people who have these views and do single out Shelby for being the main villain of this movie and acting as though she was the sole reason that Cyrus was in jail and as though she realistically could have done anything to help him out. Like, his other friends also chose not to help him out. Yeah, let's single out Shelby. These people all suck. Like, also, I would have loved to see the interrogations that happened when the cops got there. Like, what the hell did they say? They would have been so disoriented. I'm just like, how did their stories match? I'm sure Cyrus would have been like, oh no, they fell off. I didn't push them. I was just having a little mental breakdown when I was on the phone with 911. And I'm sure they would have like checked the debris of the broken balcony, and then they would have seen their pants down on the floor and been like, oh, they were having sex and they fell off this rickety old balcony. Like, surely there would be evidence to prove that. Do I think Dennis deserved to have $2.5 million stolen from him? Yes. Grown adults should not be hooking up with high schoolers. That's just my take on the matter. Call this a mental distress fee. Beatrice took the law into her own hands. She saw an opportunity and she took it. Can I follow her for that? As for where Beatrice is going to end up, she's literally limitless. She can swap into whoever's body she wants now that she has a machine, and she's a millionaire. And she's a huge influencer. I'm sure Nikki had a lot of connections and things like that. You go, girl. I really can't hate her. Like, this was so genius. This was the best possible outcome for her. Women in STEM. As for Maya, I do think she found peace with her change into Brooke's body. She literally thought that she was reincarnated. I don't know how that works, but I do love that for her. I would love to see a sequel for this film. That machine could not have been cheap, and I'm sure it was a relatively big company with money behind it. Plus, with Forbes' rage there at the end, I'm sure that he will not stop looking for his sister. Nikki's a huge social media star. She cannot be that hard to find. Also, with Nikki being in Ruben's body, I'm sure she just immediately started plotting, finding whoever was in her body and getting them to swap back. But then again, Beatrice and Nikki does have the machine, so she could literally swap with anybody so quickly. If these guys want to swap into their bodies, they're gonna have to find that girl right quick. That being said, Team Beatrice, I hope she thrives and survives in all her evil ways. Long story short, narcissistic, lying, non-confrontational, socially unaware people crashing out in a confined space is never a good idea, and I would love to see more. Jardin, please, I would love a sequel. Please. And that is the video. I really hope this video helped make sense of the movie. I try to use my little visual aids. A lot of these pictures I actually got from like the Netflix website. They have like blogs on the shows and movies that they produce, which is kind of fun, which is where I got a lot of the visual aids from. So thank you, Netflix, for that. And thank you so much for watching. Please let me know what movies and series you would like me to talk more about on my channel. If you've gone this far and you haven't subscribed and liked the video, what are you doing? What are you doing? I'm kidding. Like and subscribe if you wanna, please. Get a little virtual kiss from me. So, here's a virtual dollar also. Thank you. And yeah, that is the end of my video. Thank you so much for watching. If you would like to follow me on my social medias, they will be at the end of the video and in the description bar below. And I will see you in my next one. Bye!